As radical as the handling hardware is, the powertrain is largely the same. The engine output minus 650 horsepower and 650 pounds-to-foot of torque, and calibration are identical. The Tremec 6066 speed manual, the go-to box for American performance cars, has a shorter 5th and 6th. The Elst has a unique calibration, but the final ratio is the same. That's pretty much it on the powertrain side. Chevy did jettison some weight in order to offset the goodies it bolted on. And by some, I mean a lot. The aluminum bodies on the front shocks, for example, saved 18 pounds of unsprung mass alone. In total, the DSSV shocks are 23 pounds lighter than the magnetic ride system found on the regular ZL1. The rear seat is thinner, made of stiffer foam, and won't fold down. That's good for some mass reduction. A thinner rear window saves 4-5 pounds. It's a wash compared to the NOA/CZ/28, which of course was on a larger and heavier platform to begin with, and about 75 pounds lighter than the current manual transmission ZL1. If the equipment the 1LE had underneath it was serious, so was the place we'd be finding out how it all worked together. Area 27 is a brand new Canadian road course, just north of the American border in British Columbia. It's long, 3.1 miles, and technical enough to load up the 1LE and toss it around a bit. Some of the nastier turns were chuck and ill handling, big power car off with hardly a shrug. It's a private track club sort of deal, and there's a lot of hoopla about Jacques Villeneuve's involvement. And considering the Camaro's racing history north of the border, in a series obscure to Americans, like the Players' Challenge series that spawned the Aero 1LE itself, but well remembered by Canadian motorsports nuts, it's a good place to party. And the ZL1 1LE does like to party, and it's dressed for the occasion. All the aero bits are functional. The massive double-sickle rear wing alone is good for 300 pounds of downforce at 150 miles per hour. Those front dive planes are good for more than dealer revenue when they're ripped off in the car wash. They also improve downforce, and in a roundabout way help to reduce weight. You see, to make them fit GM had to remove the separate daytime running lights, which saved 7 pounds. The DRL units are required in Europe, but Chevy isn't going to sell the 1LE outside of North America, so it doesn't matter. Whether the Aero adds any beauty to the Camaro, no one could accuse it of being uncluttered, although it's certainly purposeful, is for you to decide. But what is undeniable is that the 1LE has the handling to back up 650 horsepower. And the brakes, iron, but at 15.3 front and 14.4 rear, plenty for the Brembo calipers to grab, are up to the task of hauling down a 3,820-pound car in preparation for chucking it into a turn. Driven hard, it's noticeably more aggressive than the old Z/28, which had a sort of gracefulness you wouldn't expect in a Camaro. The 1LE is brutish without being brutal, and to get the most out of it you have to work a bit to overcome front-end scrub. Expertly manhandled, the 1LE does incredible things. Ergonomics make the manhandling all the easier. The Tremec 6-speed is perfectly geared for a track like this, and rowing it is a joy. This is a variant of a gearbox used in nearly every high-horsepower American car that has offered the manual in the past decade or so, descended from the mighty T56. The 1LE has the characteristic positive engagement, paired with a pedal box that's as familiar as your nearly worn-out driving sneakers. It's like the anti-Viper, a car that used the same gearbox but required contortion for every motion. The same goes for the steering. Who would have thought that GM would succeed where legendary companies like BMW have struggled mightily? Just like the C7 Vet, the 1LE's variable ratio electrically assisted steering is precise and predictable, with an appropriate heft and plenty of road feel.